Now, this video is going to focus on furnishing our space. This is including these architectural symbols within our cabin. So beds and armchairs, basins, showers, toilets, and later in the video, doors and windows. Notice that these are created just using very generic shapes and just a really simplistic depiction of those features. We don't need to put too much detail in, nor do we want to provide too much detail, especially these furnishing portions, because we want to have the emphasis on the overall building, that being the external walls, internal walls, windows, doors. These furnishings and features are really to highlight, I guess, the function and purpose of the space and the overall proportion of it. Mr. Jess has kindly placed on the first two artboards these architectural symbols from VCAA, which I'll have a look at shortly. And notice that these are already drawn at a scale of 1 to 50. So be using the pen tool, the shape tool, the line tool to go through and trace them and then copy them into your design. The technical drawing standards are on pages 35. And though referencing a door is on page 37. So this is the door, this is the wall, those two little portions there. And then that other thin line is the path that it pivots upon or swings upon. A sliding door, you're just going to reference with a little arrow as well. Windows we'll look at shortly. It's a bit hard to see that one there. And here is where those examples on the template are being provided from. Jumping back to our design. What I'm going to go through and do is include them in my design. I've got little copies of them down here. So I've done just that. I've gone through and traced them with those different shapes. Notice the door is a bit thicker on one plane, so that's depicting the door. And these two doors are different. So this is length and width is at 18. If I went the other line, it'd be 18 as well. So that is a 900mm length door. So that's an exterior one. And then an interior one is just 800. So remember at 1 to 50. So what I'm going to be doing is having a copy, and then I'm likely to go through and duplicate it. So I'm just going to hold Alt and then drag that and place that right there, right up against the wall. Same thing with the armchair. Duplicate that, and now I can see that that doesn't need to be as big as it previously was. And I'm going to duplicate another one. Remember to rotate, hold Shift, and then it will rotate at 45-degree increments. And I'll speed this video up a little bit more in terms of putting in those other furnishings, and then we will go over windows and doors. Okay, I think I'm complete there. So notice I have moved this wall because my original vanity wasn't quite large enough. I've gone through and just rotated the armchairs, and I'm just duplicating because it all does need to be uniform. Previously, I put in the shower, which I didn't refer to as before. So this is representing the shower head, and then those other additional lines, they're depicting the fall of the shower. So the actual waste trap, or where the plug would be, not that you have a plug in a shower, but that would be right below that there. And I've got a previous line there, which I don't need. And so now what we want to go through and do is include the windows along the external walls. Having the furnishings in there provides a great opportunity to position yourself within the space and consider where you'd be beneficial to have windows. This might be to showcase the surrounding vistas, provide indirect natural lighting, or screen for privacy. So potentially, yes, we want a window in the toilet and we want a window in the bathroom for ventilation, for natural lighting, but we want to be able to screen that. So we're going to be positioning obviously really high up the wall, so there's no direct line of sight into those different spaces. Or you're going to be using something like frosted glass. So what we can be doing and putting the furnishing first is really having that opportunity. Okay, if I'm lying in bed, do I want to have this as a wall and not actually be able to see anything? Or am I potentially going to want a window within this little space? So I can be lying in bed, I wake up early, I can open up a little curtain or a little blind and then see the sunrise or see the native wildlife out there, or at night see the stars. In addition to including windows, we also need to be thinking about the solar path. So this needs to be strongly adhered to for maximum efficiency of the building. This is primarily consists of the building facing north, which we've got in this case, and minimizing glazing on the eastern side and the western side where the sun's rising and the sun's setting. So when it's especially on the western face, when it's setting at night in those hot summer days, you don't want to be warming up the building any more than it already is. And so this is in winter, having it north facing and glazing along our northern face. We're able to capture as much sort of southern hemisphere low-lying winter sun, and also in summer being able to protect from that really high intense heat of the summer sun. So what I suggest is go through and change the opacity of that exterior wall, which you can go to Windows and then down to transparency, which will be there. And then this is identifying where I previously had those windows. So I've already created a window here. Just 2 rectangular boxes. And then I'm going to be positioning that in there. The outer box, that needs to align with the wall because that's what it's depicting, the continuation of the wall. And then the inner box, that's depicting as an architectural symbol, the frame or the pane of glass, so the thickness of the glass. And so that's how we can really identify where windows are in architecture symbols. What I then suggest is going through and selecting both of them. Hopefully I've done that. Yes, I have. And copy pasting these into our space. So I'll speed this up once again. So doors I've gone through and included or produced down here. So I went over it previously. This is for the exterior door. So having a look at the size is 18 by 18, whereas the other one's 16 by 16. So a 900 exterior door and an 800 interior door. The only other thing with the doors, you might need to reflect them. So transform and then reflect. This would be wasting space. Obviously the door actually wouldn't be able to open that whole way. So be thinking about when you're entering a room, and even be thinking about at home, you're going to be entering into a room. So the door should swing into the room and then you close it behind you. And then also be thinking about the direction that it swings upon. It's going to be maximizing the space by having it swing in that direction. We're getting close, we're nearly finished. I would go through and make my lines darker once again and change it all to black. And then the next video we're focusing on dimensioning. Thank you.